So this first setup, it's an interesting one. It's a bit of an older setup. I think it's from like 2001. Well, you'll see what I'm talking about as we go on. But yeah, his first video is from 2001. It's from a creator called KJ Lin, who I think I saw. I might have. So I remember I was on Reddit and I saw the setup which had these two sort of like ultra wide monitors, which were set up vertically next to a very large 4K monitor. So they both on either side. It's in like a starfighter, like a Star Wars starfighter layout, and it looked very interesting. It looked a bit kind of like overwhelming, and I think it was kind of the first time I'd sort of seen something. This whole concept of sort of maximalism. He kind of introduced me to it, if you want to put it that way. And it's interesting. I actually went to his YouTube channel. I found a video where he actually talks about his maximalist setup. It's kind of interesting. He talks about the maximalism concept. I didn't actually realize this is kind of like an interior design sort of concept. Maximalism, I guess, kind of makes sense, right? The opposite of minimalism. So yeah, we're gonna watch a bit of his video and see what he has to say, and also see the setup. The setup's super interesting. All right, let's see what happens here.
Hey guys, welcome back. I'm gonna talk today about my work from home office setup. This took a lot of months. I spend more than 40% of my life on my desk, so this is important, and that's why I talk about this. I'm a person that is typically modern and minimalist. Minimalism has been popular because it tends to offend no one. It's simple, economical, and essential. But the more I did it, the more fake I felt. Another YouTuber named Matt Diavella just spoke about the decline of minimalism. And I think he's onto something. When I started building this office desk, I started thinking, was that the wrong solution for me? Was there something better that I could use to kind of use as a philosophy? Look at this trend for maximalism, the opposite of minimalism. During the outbreak and the increasing acceptance of work from home, I saw society and myself going through a transformation. So this year, I felt my desk needed to be every complicated thing I needed to do. Just plop everything onto the desk environment so I have it at any time. The nice thing about maximalism is nothing is off the table. According to Pinterest data, people are searching for maximalism decor 5 times more now than they were over.
It's kind of like a slightly weird way to look at it, right? It's like maximalism being just plop everything on a desk, so it's all there in front of you. I don't really know if that's. I don't know. I mean, this early on in the video. I don't really know if that's like a correct take. I don't know if it's a case of like just have everything possible out and sort of just right there so you can just grab it. That just seems like chaos to me. It seems like maximalism is actually kind of like it's like a curated overwhelm. That's how I'd put it, where essentially, you know, you're yes, you have a lot of things and you're cramming a lot of like visual elements into a space, but there's still supposed to be like an element of design to it. You know, it's still supposed to seem like, sure, wow, there's a lot here, this is overwhelming, but man, it's displayed, so it's displayed nicely. There's something pleasant about, you know, a space which is just is filled with color and sort of like dynamic elements, and then yeah, it's still sort of, wow, this kind of fits. You know, it's the same kind of thing when you go to a museum, you're looking at art pictures. Yeah, you're some pictures you'll look like, wow, that's there's just a lot going on there, but something's still appealing about it. It's hard to put into words, but yeah, I want to see what else he has to say about this.
Year ago. It's rising during the outbreak. The mantra of it is more is more. Maximalism is a path that highlights who you are. It prioritizes things that are comforting to you, demonstrates who you are uniquely and in all of its complexity, sometimes with very, very bold colors and a strong sense of curated consumerism.
Such a strange concept, right? Curated consumerism. I mean, this just consumerism is consumerism, right? Yeah, shouldn't it be? Isn't the curation in the actual purchasing? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Surely.
This has demonstrated that people were collecting items that were resonating with them in their outside lives. Hobbies, needs, and passions were being reconsidered and being brought back in, bringing the outside in, not by reduction, but by addition. NVIDIA GTX 390 is constantly out of stock for gamers. Sold out Pelotons for all those SoulCycle fans. This idea can easily become negatively associated with excess, spending more, and messiness, but also it's not a requirement, and really it's not the core. At its core, it's about focusing on the things you love in a tasteful way. I mean, IKEA is even getting on this bandwagon. I mean, look at these new patterns that they have. Mark Twain once said, "I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one instead." It's easy to interpret this as short is better, the modern and minimalist approach. But what if you just didn't have the time and it wasn't a priority? You got the job done, so why waste time and just do something more meaningful? I'm starting to realize that the surprising waste of time and effort and maintenance required to keep things simple, minimal, and elegant in places like my home or a Pinterest board was actually not that productive. An article I read from Apartment Therapy mentioned that maximalism is often more practical for people in their day-to-day lives than minimalism. To be a maximalist office, I summed up the...
Anyone else spot the there's just a random clip of him apparently spray painting his glasses. Is that just me? And I feel like there was like a little Easter egg there.
3 rules. Number 1, be bold and loud about the things you love. Number 2, curate, don't clutter. Number 3, represent who you are. It's time to show you, through these rules, my Marie Kondo nightmare and spark my own joy. So number 1, be bold about the things you love. The thing about complicated desks is that if you know what's on it by heart, it's okay because it works for you. Einstein would agree with his messy desk. And also Casey Neistat with his all-functioning studio. When you want to be a maximalist, you raise the volume on your interests. It's not always about high fashion, couture, crazy colors, or cheetah prints. Hiding away things in minimalism is also like hiding away the doing. And ironically, things get more complicated because you have to take more steps to start something. If I want to film something, would I have to look in another shelf and pull something out again and again and again? How much time does that take? Why not just have everything out? Why not just have it out the whole time? I much prefer an office setup about doing, because that's me. Execution, execution, execution. Number 2, curate, don't clutter.
See, right, just seeing that setup there really quickly, that just seemed like a highly functional setup. Like he literally has what appears to be quite a sort of upscale video setup. I've noticed like a shotgun microphone. He has blankets. Sometimes it can be for audio, sometimes for lighting as well. You can bounce light off of blankets like that. That's up in the background. A bunch of lights sort of coming off the table and a bunch of frames. So it's like, it's not really cluttered. Again, I don't know, is that maximalist or is that just, having a lot of tools out to do your job? It's interesting. When he mentioned Casey Neistat, I think Casey Neistat's a perfect example of someone who seems more, they're trying to add like a design, a theme, a philosophy to how they lay out a lot of stuff. Like it's not just, okay, I have a wall full of, let's say, small shelves to hold different size screws that I'm going to need throughout the day. I have this wall and it's laid out in a certain way, but there's a design element to it. It's like they use certain types of wood and they write, they write the contents of each item in the same very specific way. there is oftentimes like a design philosophy that goes behind it. It's not just lots of tools. That would just be mess. That would be clutter.
I love high-end tech.
So great. Oh God. Yeah.
At my fingertips. Every knob, button, and control was going to make this Battlestation a reality. I curated all sorts of tech that had meaning, utility, and history for me. This is the heart, a gaming creator-grade laptop with superior connectivity to devices. The Asus ZenBook Pro Duo. It was the first of its kind to have 2 monitors on a single laptop. And so I have a Switch that can actually cover over 10 camera angles. I don't have 10 at the moment, but maybe in the future. The recording eyes of this setup are all Sony. My history with Sony goes back to when I was a budding filmmaker with the VX2000 and the PD100. I have a 4K Sony a7 III for this filming, this particular angle. Zoom calls where I don't have to look at the monitor. I'm not looking down at the monitor, but directly at people or things I'm talking about. There's an overhead cam above for any showcase of items on the table. Now this is probably my most favorite camera at the moment. Probably the best vlogging camera that I think is on the market at the moment. And an editing setup in my main office, and a gear wall of my dreams. Audio and the audio recording of this setup, this podcast style microphone, the legendary SM7B, part of the SM7 series that Michael Jackson used. Legendary industry standard boom mic overhead, the Sennheiser MKH416. I was taught to appreciate the power of sound and story by the person who invented the sound standard known as THX. I had to get something THX certified, a high-end.
That was George Lucas, right? George Lucas invented THX, I think. Yeah, I mean, didn't he have a film called? It was called THX. I think it was one of his first films. I think it was it wasn't quite like a student film, but it was one of his first sort of like budget releases. It was supposed to be really good. I think I've got a copy of it. I need to actually sit and watch it.
Monolith DAC to power my Sony signature top-end headphone and Sennheiser A100S headphones for studio work and monitoring. Rodecaster Pro for mixing and casting, and also conference calls as my main interface for audio. Great audio engine speakers just for enjoyment. I wanted to create the right lighting style for my setup, which would include lighting that could fit a frontal shot right here and also an overhead shot coming down. I wanted to do something a little non-conventional. I used a Roger Deakins style cove lighting as fill using stand-up bounce boards to create an overall atmosphere of softened natural light. And then a quad monitor setup to view everything. I have a 10G connection here with this device, and then also 10G enterprise switch for the sake of 10G transfer speeds to my 10G NAS. I can seamlessly edit between two.
I actually just set this up myself. I have this old, it's not old, it's actually relatively recent. About 2 years ago, I purchased this, it was a switch, a network switch from AliExpress, which has 2 10 gigabyte per second SFP plus slots on it, as well as 4 2.5 gig slots. So my idea was to have a NAS which stores all my video files, which I use for this channel and other channels, as well as like all of my work stuff, essentially backups of my work stuff. So that's all stored on a NAS, as well as a bunch of Linux ISOs. And I wanted a 10G connection, so I only needed 2. So I needed my main computer, which is my MacBook Air actually at the moment. I wanted a 10G connection on that, and everything else could be 2.5 gig. And it worked. However, I did have to use I was using, so in my NAS, I have an Ethernet 10 gigabyte per second card from Synology. And so I had to essentially convert that into SFP plus so it could connect to the switch. So I had this decoder, which it was a bit flaky, and then it just kind of stopped working at one point, and it actually turns out that I put it in upside down. So that's why it stopped working. So I purchased this new switch last week. I just installed it a couple of days ago, and it has a Ethernet 10 gigabit per second port as well as one SFP plus port. And I actually connect that to my old switch now. So now I have a bunch of 2.5 gig and 10 gigabyte per second ports here in my office. And I'm trying to go, the goal is to make everything 10G, but for the moment, important stuff on 10 gigabytes per second, everything else on 2.5. And yeah, everything's noticeably faster. You know, you hook it straight up, it's like, oh man, this is faster. Before I couldn't really play files, like I couldn't play a video file that's stored on my NAS on one of the on one of the spinning Rust hard drives, you know, 3.5 inch hard drives. It would sort of lag, or it would have to load, it would have to buffer quite a bit of the file before it would play on my MacBooks. I'm trying to play a video file over the network. That wouldn't work. However, now with the 10G connection to the NAS, 2.5 gig connection to the laptop, it's working smoothly, and I'm sure it would be even better if I can get a 10 gig connection on my MacBook Air, which I will be doing soon.
Computers, whether in my garage or my main office. Really awesome seat by Logitech and Herman Miller. I've always been a huge fan of them. And I have cable management that started out okay, but just evolved into a jungle, so I just let that be. Number 3, represent who I am. Now I can...
No. You're not getting away with... I got to go back. That was horrible.
Huge fan of them. And I have cable management that started out okay, but just evolved into a jungle, so I just let...
That started out okay. I don't believe you. So I have kind of like more cable mess than I like on the table that I'm using right now, on the desk I'm using right now, and it bugs me. This is just, you know, and it's just, hey man, this is let me disconnect this cable which I set up a year ago and just reconnect it. You know, just make sure something's not running right. Try and do it with this. That's like a 2-hour job. You got to untangle everything just to get to one cable. It's not worth it. Just a little bit, 2 hours of effort just to straighten everything out, get some clips. If you can get a few of those, you can purchase these like kind of like T-slots, not T-slots, they're kind of like plastic, like under desk mounts just for running cables. They're just got these long channels which have a hole in one side. Purchase one of those, or just purchase one of the, they have these wire slots where it's like, it's a 2-part thing, and it's like you attach one to the desk, you can screw it in, or just use double-sided tape, and it kind of has a plastic thing which you clip on top, and you can kind of just shove all the cables inside it, but it looks super neat. Or if you have like a 3D printer, you can look into, there's a project called Underwear, which I actually have set up on my main work desk here. Yeah, you can 3D print all these sort of like cable management tools. Just do something. A little bit of work, this goes a long way. I've done a little bit on this table, and it's better than it was before. And yeah, it just makes things so much easier when you need to find cables. That's the real reason to cable manage, is just so, oh, let me change this USB device, and you have to go and follow the cable path through a tangle like this. Forget about it. You're just not going to do it. You'd be like, I'll just buy a new cable. And it just adds to the mess. Yeah, not worth it.
Number 3, represent who I am. Now I can be a video creator who could film from 3 angles, frontal, top, and dynamic shots, into my computer or directly into the cameras. Number 2, I can be a professional who does conference calls worldwide with investors, partners, colleagues, business people, and can look good doing it with the best source of audio, lighting, and video equipment. Number 3, a gamer who has fast equipment, tactile, and awesome visual feedback. Number 4, a day trader who could use 4 monitors to observe the market, buy the fucking dip, and make a little money. Thanks, LKS. And a foodie and otaku that just had a little more space to eat and watch anime, and possibly film a mukbang ASMR in his garage. Accepting my differing and conflicting personas easily through this desk was my goal. A do-everything machine that basically...
I don't like to see people eating, man. Like, when people do mukbangs, I just don't understand the concept. I don't like seeing myself eating. It's like uncomfortable. If I catch myself in the mirror eating, I'm like, ugh, just look away. So I don't know, maybe it's just me. Comment below. Do you like seeing people eat on YouTube, or yeah, in video format. Is that appealing, or does it not bother? Does it not bother other people like it does me? Maybe it's just me. That's highly likely it's just me.
I'm complicated and I don't want to dress up, so I'm just gonna bear it all. So this is my maximalist self in a nutshell. The 2020s are starting to rear itself as a maximalist explosion.
All right, I think he goes into a little bit of like, so yeah, we'll skip past that. But what I want to quickly show you is that, so yeah, the setup he showed there, I wouldn't really call that maximalist. I'd call that more just, you know, lots of high-end tools, very high-end tools, by the way. Like two extremely high-end headphones seems just like overkill to me. So yeah, what I want to do is I want to show you his updated setup that he actually created after this one. Two vertical, I think those are 49-inch ultra wide monitors is just insane. It's kind of like you're not going to be looking up almost like a 90-degree angle upwards in order to see the contents of the screen up there. It's purely for the flex. I respect the flex, don't get me wrong, but it's a flex. So I don't know. When I saw that, I was like, "Whoa, that's hardcore. That's a decision." But you know, it earned him a level of fame that I think it was worth it. It was like an experiment. He tried something, it worked. It was interesting. So yeah, kudos to him, man. A part of the setup that actually I really love is on the walls. He seems to have this kind of like, I don't know, they're like these large like white panels, but they're kind of like in these blocks, but they seem to have like a 3D effect to them. I really like those. Those look really cool to me. Sort of like an under highlighted detail there. I don't know. It makes the room kind of look like this. It's kind of clinical, but at the same time, it kind of has like its own. It has a design to it. It has, yeah, something cool about it. It's a good job there. That was impressive. That was impressive. I've got a static picture of this setup. Let me see. The Reddit post is called "I'm an ultra wide fan, but in a different way," and he's not lying. Yeah, that is crazy. Look at that. A little PS5 just kind of hidden in the corner. But yeah, you see what I'm saying about these wall panels? They're super interesting. I'm not sure how, it's not tile, obviously. Maybe it's just, I don't think it's foam, but it seems like this sort of like, I don't know if it's plastic. It seems to have a texture to it. Yeah, I don't know. I like that. It's a nice design touch. Cheeky. I think this is in Asia. Yeah, he has a AC over here. Yeah, it's just well done. Again, don't know if I call any of this maximalist. It's definitely over the top, but in a good way, in a respectable way. It's the kind of over the top that we like here at Setup Reacts. So good job.
Perfect.